Okay.
I'll fill
So
in the
let's have a
dots.
pa 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 pa. So what Eugene and I have decided to do is that on every Monday, or we're going to try at least every second Monday, minimum once a month, depending on our availability, we're going to be doing what's called a Monday motivation. So Monday motivation will be a short live, and we say short live with a lot of discretion because you know how these things go. And these lives will then be made available on other platforms too. So what we'll be discussing, what we'll be talking about are various aspects. So if anybody has anything they want to speak about specifically, you're more than welcome to either DM Eugene, because I know his DMs are dry, or, or you could DM me because my DMs are only from Maria, so that's great. And we will talk about various topics. But something Eugene wanted to speak about, for example, today, and I think at this point I'll hand over to Eugene. You put it very nicely together earlier. So you were saying,
Sure. What we want to try and do in these lives is obviously having like a motivational Monday. Like, we want to talk about leaving 2020 behind and how we should look to 2021. Because obviously, like, there's a lot of things that happened in 2020, and there's a lot of baggage there. Yeah. And as we move into 2021, having the correct mindset of, okay, it might not be the best start of the year, but as we progress, we are going to handle the year as it comes. Those curveballs are going to come. We're just going to make the best of it and progress through this year. So yes, it's just basically leaving 2020 behind, entering 2021, and yeah, it's gonna be good.
yeah,
It's gonna get some. I'm gonna have to get used to saying 2021 all the time now. So yeah,
yeah. I mean, we had the same problem going from 2019 to 2020.
yeah,
I'm not sure if you remember, but lots of people were saying 2020 is 20 plenty. And then
yeah.
suddenly the
I
plenty was not the plenty we expected.
I
You
I
know,
heard a lot of people going 2020 vision. This is gonna be my year. Yeah, it turned
yeah,
out to
exactly.
be. Yeah,
Yeah. You know, one of the lessons that and we'll jump straight into it. One of the lessons we can take from this is to always be prepared for that which we don't expect.
expect the
Um,
unexpected.
expect the unexpected. I mean, you know, people do things like set New Year's resolutions and goals and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with setting goals, but you need to make room for that sudden thing that happens that takes you away from the goal. I
Correct.
could have a goal to go and have a lovely nap later on, but the roof could cave in and then my nap's ruined. Stupid example, but it's an example. You know, people plan for things ahead of time, which and again, there's nothing wrong with it, but I always speak about acknowledging and being aware of negativity in a positive way, because there's always a possibility for that in life, love, and
So
business, actually.
so what I did not yeah in 2018, I changed it up slightly. Instead of doing New Year's resolutions, because how many times have you heard of someone, oh, it's like the 15th and most of them have broken their resolutions already and then they've just given up. Okay, so what I
Yeah.
did is I did a 2019 strategy. These are
Yes.
the things I would like to accomplish, and this is how I would like to do it. But if this doesn't work, then able to change it, strategize to another route, and carry it on instead of just going, well, I'll start that next year again.
Yes. Yes. You know, that's one of the things that people don't do. They don't put solutions to the problems in place, and then they just give up immediately. And yes, as Maria is saying right here, alternative ways to achieve your goals. Absolutely correct. What we also find is that people will set these massive, massive goals. And I speak with my hands, as you can see. They set these massive, massive goals. And then when they don't achieve them, they get depressed or they get saddened by it. Meanwhile, what they don't do is set small goals, achievable goals. And I must be very honest, I'm not a big goal setter, but I have a vision. And sometimes the vision is what you need to live. You need to become that person that actually goes for it no matter what. And also at the same time, knowing your limit. If my goal is to own a Ferrari F50 one day and I get a Lamborghini instead, I'm not going to be upset because the journey of reaching that goal is what we forget to enjoy. We forget to enjoy the path and the journey towards going to what you want out of life. And 2021 is going to test a lot of people like 2020 did. 2020, from a spiritual point of view, tested a lot of people. It created a scenario where people had to become very much aware of themselves. And what you found is a mental health issue, and that people never seen before, because suddenly they're spending time by themselves. And knowing yourself is sometimes the scariest thing ever, because you've been living this life that's been set out by society all the time. And when you suddenly have to live your own life, then it's like, oh my gosh, who am I? And the who am I is the big question.
Well, I've spoken to a lot of people during this period of time, and like a lot of people used to go out all the time, like Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, maybe even a Tuesday thrown in every now and then, and because they weren't happy at home, okay? But then when they
Yes.
got quarantined, they had no excuse. Some of them were like, oh, okay, well, this isn't my situation, and like a lot of relationships, blah blah blah, etc., ended in that aspect. But a lot of people did discover themselves, and a lot of people weren't happy with who they were.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
have enough time to change that, as like,
Absolutely. So
so
Lady
that's what.
Frankie said, Lady Frankie says, yeah, new year, new problems. It's the way you approach them that matters. And then Maria says, yeah, correct me here. Is it good to always aim for the highest? And there's nothing wrong with aiming for the highest. There's an old saying that says, shoot for the stars, you might hit the light pole. But when you hit that light pole, it's about saying, thank goodness I've hit that light pole. Not saying, oh, I didn't hit the star. I didn't hit the star. It's about acknowledging small victories. And in my book, Sunny Motive, I speak about patting yourself on the back and acknowledging the small victories along your journey towards those highest goals. And
100%.
just come back to what you were saying about people not knowing themselves and being scared to know themselves. It's 100% correct. And the sad thing is that for someone, and I'm not trying to blow my own head up here, but someone who's woke, and a little bit more aware of things like instant gratification and things, you'll find that people will start living a more fake and artificial life because they don't know how to live their real life. And that is the scared part. I mean, I know personally of people that don't want to tell people about what they've done in their life and where they are in their life because they're scared of people knowing who they really are. And it's when people get to know who you really are that you start speaking from a place of truth. And that is when growth happens.
And that's the beautiful thing. Like once you work more on yourself, you discover who you are and what you're capable of. As you start developing that path and moving forward and investing more time in yourself and more knowledge in yourself, like I find like there's like a sweet spot of you just want to carry on achieving, you want to keep reaching, like that you say there about shooting for the stars. So 2008, 2018, 2019, I was like, whoo, it's going to be another company this year, blah, blah, blah. And it was exciting. And then something happened in 2019, at the end of 2019, and I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
2020, like New Year's came, people were like, oh, what are you going to do next year? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to grind it out and just. But then as lockdown happened and they announced that, I got into a different frame of mind because that was my thing. Like, oh wait, lockdown's happening. Okay, well this is the best thing that could happen for me because now I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's
Yes.
different for people because I was shooting for the stars, and when I didn't achieve that, and when something hectic happened, and I lost a massive asset, um, that really did knock the sales out of
Yeah.
my whole ecosystem that I was flowing down, I was really like
Yes.
depressed and like, but if I still look back at what I've achieved in the last 7 years, I'm
Yeah.
so much further than I was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know,
like
Eugene,
it's a different person.
it's those things where you need to start patting yourself on the back for, and lots of people don't pat themselves on the back. And like Maria, very wise woman, says here, all people have an inner strength as long as we discover it. And that is so accurate, because some people have inner strength, but they've been beaten up, or they don't get told about it. They don't pat themselves on the back to discover that inner strength.
Mm-hmm.
And Raisa says here, we have to be able to adapt. And absolutely, Raisa, we have to be able to adapt, because some things are not in our hands, as you say.
Yeah,
So
100%.
it's really, really true, you know. So people don't understand what it means to adapt. And there's a saying that says adapt or die. And literally right now in our society, it is adapt or you're gonna die. um
Mm,
and like I said earlier, you have to be able to pat yourself on the back for the small achievements. I mean, you, as like me
exactly.
as well, you talk about 2018, blah 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 blah. 10 years of my life I was like that. I was like, easy, I will know I'm going to get those bookings, I know I'm going to go and do a talk, I know I'm going to do these things. Now suddenly it's like, what do I do now? The difference is you find different avenues in which to satisfy yourself, but you satisfy your soul at the same time. The moment you find your purpose, the moment you find a strength in what you are really good at, and even if you're not good at it, you find ways to work at that. You do it. And it says here, sometimes your strength lies in just going with the flow. Absolutely.
I haven't found what I'm good at yet. I'm still discovering aspects of me that's like making me every year go, oh wow, oh wow. Like it's like the pieces of the puzzle. It's like getting put together at different parts of my journey. But coming back, Lady Frankie says, yeah, fair enough, but it's easier said than done. And it is. It is easier said than done, but it comes with lots of experience. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like 40 years old now, so I've experienced like a lot of
Very
heartache. I've
old, guys. He's
experienced,
very old.
yeah, it's bad. Um, I've experienced a lot of like failure, but it's not failure because if you see it as failure and then you get the fear of failure, then you're not going to try anything. So then going into 2021, you're just someone's going to hand you an opportunity and you're going to be like, well, no, I'm scared of failing. No.
Yeah.
If take
Yeah.
the opportunity, if you don't know what to do, go and learn. If if you fail at it, so what? You've just learned
Yeah.
one thing you can't do. Then move
What
on, take that lesson.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the one thing that you said that is really, really accurate. Failure is not a failure. Failure is a lesson. And as Maria says, you also be willing to do something as part of us achieving something. We have to search for the silver linings, as Raisa says. You always have to search for that silver lining. And yes, Maria, experience and determination. Because if you think about it, some people who get that failure, they stop there. They don't look for anything else. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
as Lady Frankie said, it's easier said than done, and it is easier said than done. But you know what? Some people don't do anything. It's really not a situation of failing and then just giving up. This is the problem, and that's what I like about your account, Driven to Succeed, because you have to be driven to succeed, and success is the definition for every different person in their lives. Is
Correct.
it emotional? Is it financial? Is it what defines success for you? What's going to
What
what
defines success?
Yeah, and what's going to define success for you in 2021? My success in the past 15 years is finding my purpose. And you know what? It changes all the time. We are an evolving society. We are an evolving soul.
Correct.
We are souls having a human experience. And yes, as Raisa says, we all have our challenges. We all have our challenges, but some people give up at those challenges. And that is the
Mm-hmm.
sad part. I mean, let's be honest, 2020 was not an easy year for a lot of people. But there are
No,
some people
wasn't.
who actually pushed. I mean, look at you. I mean, you say you don't know what your purpose is. Eugene, you're a people's person. You help people grow. You help people find themselves.
The introverted people's person.
The introverted people's person, yes. I mean, I'm an extreme extrovert, but I love being on my own too. So just to get that out the way. But if we work together, we support each other, and this is another thing I found, and I've discovered this a lot in the past 2 years, not just 2020. There are too many people out there who don't like to see other people grow.
That is the sad thing. And it takes one negative comment for that person to go, oh no, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Where it takes 7 positive comments to reinforce that, hey, you can actually do this. So when someone doesn't want to see you succeed, they're going to have negative stuff. They're going to, I've had so many times where I've come up with an idea and I'm like, yay, this is what I'm going to do. And then it's like, and you're like, no, no, I'm doing this.
And those are what you call naysayers. And one word of advice I can give to people, and I still struggle with this, but I'm aware of the fact that I struggle with it, is telling your brain to shut up. Because when somebody gets into your brain and they get your thought processes really go crazy. That's fine, Maria. Your thought processes go crazy, and when the thought processes go crazy, they take over. And the moment that happens, I try to say this without swearing. You basically stop speaking from a place of truth. You stop doing things for yourself because you're doing what your brain says you must do, not what your heart wants to do. And speaking from the heart in this place of truth does so many things for your soul that your brain doesn't like it. And the egoic mind doesn't like it. Your ego doesn't like it. When your family says, oh, you want to start a business? Have you thought about this problem? Have you thought about that problem? Then suddenly the ego goes, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. Because the ego steps in.
I'll give you an example. I was probably quite bad with this a few years ago. About 4 years ago, we had already been talking about opening the rope access business for about a year before that. And we were like working out solutions to potential problems that weren't even problems yet. And then once my mom had realized we were going to be doing this business, she was like, okay, well, have you thought of this? And have you thought of this? And you should do this, you should do this, you've got to do this. And I was like, instead of you saying, I've got to do this, rather just say, have you thought of this? Because it was starting to get quite annoying, and I was getting upset because it was a year in the making, and it was my ego. My ego was getting hurt. Like every time someone was saying something negative, you get over it as you carry on maturing, I suppose.
Raisa says something here, which the only way we can move forward is if we support each other. And coming back to what you said about your family, and this is something I've done in my business practice for many years. Well, I say business practice because I've been freelancing for before I turned gray. It's not just about supporting each other, but it's about giving criticism, but constructive criticism. Instead of just knocking somebody down.
And being able to handle it, though.
And being able to handle it takes a lot of strength. And that is where the ego checking comes in. You get to a point in your life, and I've been there before, I've backtracked, I admit to it, and I'm back there again, where you actually just don't care what people think. You take it, you use it, you don't use it, but you just got to not care what people say if they're negative. In South Africa, on social media will reach international platforms, absolutely lifting and supporting each other. Yes, but so many people don't want to do that because they're scared, because of the ego.
We've got a comment here, but I think society is one of the biggest factors influencing us to use logic.
Yes, society, media. But the moment you step back and you do, I know this sounds weird, but you just calm down and go, that's what they say. I don't need a fact checker to Google every single aspect of my life, because you know what? In theory, great, but reality is different. If you think about things like emotional intelligence versus materialistic intelligence. It's all good to have a good balance, and we struggle to find a balance between making a life and making a living. Right here, right here. But the moment you acknowledge what society is doing, but just be aware, you have to create awareness around what is happening. And like Raisa says, trust your instincts sometimes.
So one of the tattoos I have on my arm says "Look who you are," which is actually a song by Pennywise, and it's about not conforming to society, what society wants from you, and because they put you in boxes. They're like, well, this is even school is designed to do that, where they're like, well, you need to sit at school so you know how to sit still for 8 hours a day. Because when you finish here, you're gonna go sit in another job where you're gonna do this. You're gonna get your 401, or you're gonna get your pension scheme. You're gonna find a girlfriend or wife. You're gonna have a kid, and then you're gonna get funeral plans, and you're gonna pass away. And that is what society wants. And not conforming to that and being an individual and being your own person and finding your purpose is the key to everything we can do.
Absolutely. Like Raisa says, the best advice is to always do you. Absolutely.
Correct.
You know, you don't have to, the whole conforming to society. I'll give you an example. I'm way over 30 years old and I'm not married. And in the Indian culture, it's like, what is wrong with you? You're over 30 years old. You don't have a business. You're not married. What is wrong? And it causes a lot of friction sometimes because everybody gets brainwashed. And like you said, we've been programmed over the years to do exactly what society says we must do. And here's the problem: when we don't do it, we get kicked out. We are a separate group of people. We don't get well, in my case, I don't have the average 9 to 5 job. I don't come home every day just after working a job which stands for just over broke. Um, so what do we do? How do we expand from that? And then that is when the purpose comes in. Where's the spiritual part? Where is the peace? The peace is so important. I know so many people who are billionaires and millionaires who all they have is their money, but they are looking for peace all the time. And they satisfy that peace by buying things or spoiling people, which is fine because that is what they do. And what you will find is that sometimes you will have a relationship with family and friends that reaches a certain level that cannot progress or regress. And it just reaches a certain level that will not change because of a level of consciousness of where you are in your life.
So going into 2021, what is like some of the things you are going to try and work on, or as you like, we know that okay, we're at level 3 lockdown now, the virus is still spreading, vaccines are going to take long. You obviously have to still do you and get through this year and still improve where you can. And what are some of the things you are looking forward to and some of the things you might not be looking forward to in 2021?
Yeah. So what I'm looking forward to in 2021, besides trying to get my behind to Australia, one of the things I'm definitely looking forward to 2021 is being more aware. And like one of the people said here, Raisa said, I think she said it, adapt. We can fight as much as you want to. And people will say, don't wear your mask because the government is trying to program you. Would you rather die? Adapt, 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 and make the best of every single day. I don't think people understand what it means to actually make the best of every moment. When you do gratitude every day, maybe I'm just random, I do gratitude every single day. When you do gratitude, are you just saying thank you because you have to? Like, really be grateful for the fact that you are alive and that you are here and you are able to help support people, change lives one person at a time. So 2021 for me, it's not just another year, it's another opportunity to live. What about you?
Well, adapting. So I basically I've seen 2020 as like the year that tested us. a lot of us were tested to our limits, but this year it is about adapting. It's about finding different avenues. Like what some people were like, I know a lot of people that have opened their own little online business during this. There's people that are doing certain things to try and get sponsors. There's all these avenues that people are now starting to look at, new avenues of work. So strategizing and adapting in that aspect as well is pretty much key to 2021, because
Yes.
I believe that way that we work, like it was proven last year already. I've been saying over the years that the way we work, you're not going to work for a big business in the future anymore. You're going to be working from home. They're going to employ you for a different role that you are capable of doing and the influence you have. Okay.
Yes.
And we saw that this year. Well, last year we saw that, like everyone being stuck at home, having to use Zoom and all that. So now, how are we going to adapt in 2021? That is the
Yes.
part I'm really looking the most
Yeah.
forward to.
I just want to point out something that one of the people had commented on here, which I think is really, really, it's small, but it's really big at the same time. Her name is Raisa Official. I had 10 years of cancer. I'm at home on oxygen 24/7, but I am alive, fulfilled, and happy. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. You
That is
know,
amazing.
again, people, when you say the word adapt, they're like, oh, okay, then I'll wear my mask and I'll sanitize. It's not just about that. And
Right.
yes, you know, and Eugene, there's nothing wrong with people working for a boss. Some people are going to work for a boss. I mean, I don't have a
Some
boss,
people
but
are,
I mean,
that is, yeah.
that is what they do. But if they find peace and happiness in working for a boss, then do it. Do it. There's nothing
But
wrong with
okay,
it.
so my question then is, the people that are happy working for a boss and doing all that, do you think a lot of them have found their purpose?
I think that purpose changes as you evolve. So different things will happen in your life. My purpose 10, 15 years ago, okay, well, my purpose was the same, but it was at a different level. So the level of your purpose will change. I've got a comment here, which I think we can maybe just speak about a little bit, from MSCOO9. With everything going on, I feel it's a division with people taking the vaccine. How can people adapt? So people can adapt by not fighting it. And this is my personal opinion only. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. So I don't know what's happening on the ground. But what I can tell you is that the scientists are working hard at getting things like the vaccine out. But you know what it is? People not taking precautions. And then they get upset with the government and people who are taking precautions. It's not just about you, it's about everybody else out there. I don't know if Eugene, if you want to say something about this.
Well, like for instance, I don't want to get political, but yeah, there's been people on the beaches, early morning swims and stuff like that, and they're getting arrested at the moment. And
Yeah,
the one person tweeted out saying, "Oh, this is really." Blah, blah. Then I think he saw the mood of the whole conversation, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, it's a tough job for the police to monitor and handle." And like, there were people in the comments going, "Well, what's wrong with just being on the beach and having a little swim?" You got to take
yeah,
responsibility. The law is the law. We've been governed, and this is what they've asked to try and bring the numbers down, and we've got to adapt to what's going on. So adapt. Just, you're not allowed to
exactly.
do that. Like,
Yeah,
don't think, or don't be selfish. That's what it
yeah,
really boils down to. You're being selfish.
it is. And there's another nice comment here from the same person saying, when there is health that is important, poor people realize happiness even being poor. You get people who
100%.
live in like what they call shanty towns or shacks and things, and they are happier than people who are living in mansions. And it's so true. And yes, Raisa, lots of people are realizing that COVID is real. And lots of people are still saying it's not real. I know personally of 3 people that passed away in the past 2 weeks. One person was diagnosed on the Monday and he passed away on the Thursday morning.
Sure.
And yes, your health is your wealth.
So then going into 2021, as we've said, like, what are the things that you need to do? You need to adapt. Like, yes, it's not cool wearing a mask all the time, but just do it. It's
Exactly.
you're not only being safe for yourself, but your family, your friends, your everyone. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had to close this conversation off for today, what would you say? What would your final words be?
Going into 2021, I would just say that take every day as it comes. Like, don't, like, I am planning certain aspects of what I'd like to achieve during this year, but I also know that at any moment they could go, okay, guys, we need to go to level 5, and so you need to be prepared for that. Will that
Yeah.
hurt? Will the economy be able to take it? Will they be able to do it? Those are their questions. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, you've got to look at this year that by the time you get to the end of it, if you've invested time and knowledge in yourself, by the time you get to the end of it, you're going to be in a better position. You're going to have walked through it. Yes, curveballs are going to have come, but you're going to get to the end of the year in a lot better position than most of us finished last year in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna say something here quickly. I got 2 comments saying I feel like protesting would benefit because so many have died from taking the vaccine. And protesting is a good idea, but at the same time, we can't protest because of social distance. It's not
I was just about to
easy.
say.
Yeah, it's not easy to apologize. It takes a responsible, God-conscious person. I believe so. So I think in closing, from my side of things, I would like to reiterate your words, Eugene. And it's not going to be easy for everybody. I mean, let's just use me as an example. I'm in the entertainment industry. I've lost 2 films. My bookings have reduced by more than 70%. But you got to still remain positive for being alive and know that you are loved. Know that you are loved, and you got to love yourself. And self-love at these times is so important. So my word of advice to everybody for 2021 is practice genuine self-love.
Yeah. See, for me, my outlook on the macro is that this is just like a bump in the road at the moment. Last year, this
A
year,
massive
but
speed up. It's a pothole, bro. It's a pothole.
exactly. But at the end of the day, it is how as long as you're still standing, by the time this cycle ends, I don't care how you're standing. You can be on crutches, you can be whatever. That doesn't matter as long as you're still standing, because then you're in a position to start climbing once you've started, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you give up and you're like, oh, I just can't, I don't want to improve myself, I'm just gonna do this, like, you're not going to improve. You're not going to get to that position where if you fail, then you're going to be like, okay, I'm out, tapped. Like,
Yeah.
and you're never going to like succeed and find that purpose. And
Yeah. So I mean, I know I said I'm my last words already, but I'm going to say this. Something that I'm going to urge everybody to do is to acknowledge when their needs are satisfied and not their wants. And that's where I'm ending.
I just want to say a comment, yeah. It says, yeah,
Yes.
this is definitely going to
Okay,
drive
so,
home resiliency and help people become flexible and adaptive. What we've currently been going through, it is
yeah.
definitely people
It's going
are
to separate the men
going
from
to
the
be
mouse.
stronger. That's it.
Separate the men from the
That's it.
mouse, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Eugene,
thank you very much.
thank you. A reminder to everybody that we're going to be trying to do this at least once a month on a Monday for Monday Motivation. And we will, well, Eugene will, because he's the editing pro, sharing this on different platforms.
So what you can do is we're going to be sharing it on the Influencer SA YouTube channel and other channels for now. But if you want, in my bio, if you click there, the YouTube channel, you'll see it there. Become a subscriber. If you missed the live, it will be replayed later on during the week. So yeah, you can always find it there on YouTube for now. And then we'll put it onto Instagram stories, but we'll edit that a little bit more. So yes, thank
Yeah.
you very much
So
for tuning in,
thank
guys.
you,
I do
everybody.
appreciate it.
Eugene, I'm glad my beard is going back to look like you.
Cool, man. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Have a
Excellent.
good day.
All
Yeah.
right. Yes, eh.
Cheers, guys. Later, later.
Okay. Love and light, everybody.